is your Classic Metal Show right here on theclassicmetalshow.com. That's brand new stuff from Enuff Z'nuff. The name of the album is Diamond Boy. The name of that song is Where Did You Go? And here's a guy that we're always wondering where he went, but if you keep up at all with rock music, he's easy to find. It is the singer and the bassist of Enuff Z'nuff. It is our good friend Chip Z'nuff. Chip, how are you, man?
A beautiful day here. Another day above ground is good. It's Monday here in Chicago. Great weather. And I'm looking forward to taking this choo-choo train and driving it around the country.
Is it still the love train that's going around, man?
It certainly is. It's never stopped from being a love train, my friend. Coincidentally, that song has been set every single night.
Nice. Very cool, dude. Well, Chip, as we were saying before we got started here, and as I've said on Twitter, which has gotten a lot of attention, surprisingly, new record has a little bit of a different vibe to it, but it's clearly Enuff Z'nuff, and it's a fun release, but it's a little more of a rocker release than the power pop Beatles-y thing that you guys have so long only been compared to. There's a lot more Cheap Trick to it. There's a lot more rock to it, and it's just a good record, man, from start to finish.
Well, thank you, by the way. We've always wore influences proudly on our sleeves, Chris, and from day one, you know that. You've been around from the beginning of Enuff Z'nuff. And it's only fitting that we take these songs. It's a great lo-fi, hi-fi record. We're not trying to be the new Greta Van Fleet or the Struts, because those guys carry their own torch, and it's great. I'm happy they are. Or the Rival Sons, another great band. It's a straight-ahead Enuff Z'nuff record. And when people ask me, well, what's the record like, Chip? Tell me about it. I said, well, picture David Bowie and the Beatles fighting in an alley, and Cheap Trick comes in to break it up. That's the record. And if show me guys without influences, I'll show you guys who haven't written one note. And it's only fitting that we got together in a studio and bashed out a record the old-fashioned way, 2-inch tape, analog, minimal overdubs, because we want to make sure we go out live and we don't have to have 6 guys hiding behind the stage playing the parts.
Right. Or
a 16-track console with all the tracks coming back. We want to make sure that we can take these songs and play them live every single night and reproduce them to close to the record. And I think we've nailed that.
No question about that, Chip. Well, I have to imagine, and tell me if I'm wrong, but this is a different type of record to write for you without obviously your tag team partner, Donnie, writing with you. How is it different now writing, with more just yourself versus you and him bashing it out to create, the sound that has for so long been uniquely Enuff Z'nuff?
Well, let's face it. Guy's a great writer.
Sure.
It was a wonderful partner to have there. We got in the studio and we bashed those songs out. We'd lay down 2, 3, 4 songs a night in the studio. And, of course, we had an ounce of cocaine with us and a couple of bottles of Jack Daniels. And we burned the candle at both ends. We wouldn't even start the recording sessions till 12, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
And that was the way we made records. That was the way we made records in the past. It was the real way to do it. I think now we're a little more focused. Everybody's a little older. I had the template for the songs. I got a great band. These guys are all writers, too. So they were able to contribute their parts to the songs. And once I laid down the template, they were beyond belief excited about this. And, these guys are songwriters and guitar players and singers as well. So I've surrounded myself with some great guys, and that's how good bands usually work. I don't care who you are, whether you're a Cheap Trick or a Def Leppard or, Metallica. Those guys get together and they work together as a team. There's no I in team. So that certainly helped a lot. We all had the same vision. We believe in the legacy of Enuff Z'nuff. And it's quite a long one, believe me, for a band like us to still be putting records out in 2018. What is this, counting the live records and greatest hits and all our studio releases, probably 21 records.
Right.
That's a lot of material right there. So I think we're very focused, and that was the most important thing right there. And we had a vision before we started the record, or I had a vision with Tony, which was to make a record that was very 70s sounding, lo-fi, hi-fi, and very minimal overdubs. Chris, we get in the studio, normal hours, no more 2 a.m, start recording. Everybody's sleeping then. Well, most of the guys are, except for me. Fennel goes to bed at 9, 10 o'clock at night, And and everybody seemed to contribute. We bashed it out over at Chicago Recording Company, and then a lot of the stuff we did with we went with another producer too. We produced a record along with this guy named Rob Posen, who does nothing but punk rock and hip hop records, and I think that really set the tone for where we were going on this album, where we showed a different side of the band that is normally not seen. If you listen to earlier Enuff Z'nuff albums, I'm singing on a couple songs on the record, of all the harmonies, of course, but there's a couple songs where Donnie insisted that I sing lead vocals to show a different side of the band, like almost like Queen would do, where the other guys would sing a song or two on each record.
Sure.
And this one, a different approach. I sang every song, did a couple of takes, didn't want to go crazy and punch in lines and fix words or anything. If there was a little bit, I wasn't afraid to show the warts, scars, and tattoos that I carry through my career with this band.
Sure. Now, how hard is it for you, as the guy that has been in the trenches for literally every move that Enuff Z'nuff has ever made, to bring in new guys and give them, I don't want this to sound like it's a dictatorship, but to give them an equal say in writing and development of songs, where clearly, yeah, they may share the vision with you, but you developed the vision. So I have to imagine that it's hard to let guys that have not been in the trenches with you, all the way through, to give them as much creative input as you would have. No?
Well, it's certainly not a dictatorship. I had the songs. I showed the guys. They loved them. There wasn't one song that I wrote that they didn't embrace.
Okay.
And I believe and respect what they do and what they can bring to the party as well. And when Tony came in there, he's a keyboard player. He plays guitar. He's a multi-instrumentalist. And he said, I got some ideas. What do you think? And I loved him, obviously. He had a wonderful sense of balance.
Sure.
And Tori, a great lead guitar player. I didn't want to put handcuffs on the guys. I said, do what you do, and if it feels good, I'm going to say yes. And for the most part, it did. And our drummer, I got a young guy playing drums named Daniel Benjamin Hill. Not very well known around the world, but he will be now because the guy's solid as a rock. And he really took the album to the next level with his great drumming. And I think with the combination of all of us working together, that makes Enuff Z'nuff. And like I said, they believe in the legacy of the band. They know what we're all about. It's a different day and age right now. Mm-hmm. And we didn't look at it that way. We used to have guitar solos in all the songs. I like guitar solos. They trip my trigger, and the fans obviously do, because all the big bands that are playing sheds and arenas and stadiums, they all have guitar solos as well. So we came up that way. What did John Lennon used to say? Oh, yeah, for every great song deserves a good guitar solo, and I agree with that, and I'm carrying that with me.
Sure, and it's clearly working. I obviously have long been a huge fan of you and the band, and I follow along with all the reviews that are online, and watched a ton of different YouTube videos and whatnot from every show pretty much that you guys do, and it has been surprisingly well received. You have like any other band, you'll always have your share of people who are like, if it's not Donnie and Chip, it's not Enuff Z'nuff. You'll have that. But almost universally, people have been embracing you in front of the band and what you guys, the current lineup of the band, is doing. And that has to make you feel good.
Well, I think, thank you. I've always felt that when we came out of the box, Donnie and I were like, and I'm not trying to compare us to these guys, but obviously I'm going to use this as a template.
Sure.
But Jagger, Richards, Tyler Perry, Xander, Nielsen, it's always been a tandem from day one. Mm-hmm. So, and when it came time to where there was nobody else around to play and sing these songs, I had no choice really. It was either sink or swim. And I decided to swim, and I've always been a pretty good swimmer. I got to be honest with you. And I think that going out with Kiss last year on the Kiss cruise and playing those 4 shows with them, and having Doc McGee and Paul Stanley saying to me, Chip, you should have been doing this 10 years ago. I'd be lying to you if I didn't say it gave me a real shot in the arm. And the Ace Frehley tour was no exception.
Sure.
The people. Those are crowds that you wouldn't necessarily think they would like the pop side of Enuff Z'nuff, but they were blown away every single night. We got a chance to sell our merchandise to the shows and meet new fans, and we took time out everywhere. It wasn't the old days of play a gig, jump on the bus, go to the next city. We stay out and hang out all night. It's a rock and roll party until the end of the night, and then it's wash, rinse, repeat. We do it every single night. It's tedious. It's a tough job, but I love our fans. There's a lot of them out there, and I'm going to continue to go out there and play shows and give everything I got.
Sure. Now, Chip, the new record "Diamond Boy" is being released by Frontiers Records, and obviously that has become the platform for bands of your era, of our era, really, to continue to put out new music. What is it about Serafino's vision over there that he sees that so many, basically every other label, just doesn't either see or work with these days? Because he's clearly found something that is working, and does a strong job of giving you guys a platform to keep putting out new music.
Well, it's a gift. I feel like I've been adopted by the guys in The Godfather. Okay, these guys Serafino signs everything, and so he's a smart guy because he surrounds himself with great guys. You got Nick Teeter down there,
sure,
who's been selling records and doing this for 30 years. The guy's a genius. And I'm not just saying this that I'm on a label, whether it was with the Frontiers or not. He's got great cats around him, and Fernando and Mario. These are all record guys that believe in the band. They're fans of the music.
Sure.
And that's why they went out and they signed bands like Journey and Night Ranger and Sebastian Bach and Whitesnake, because they have a vision, and they believe, and they're fans of the music. And it's no exception with Enuff Z'nuff. They heard the record. I sent 2 songs to them, Chris. That was it. They said, "Yeah, let's hear some new material after we released the Clown's Lounge record."
Right.
And 2 of those songs I sent to them, they said, "Yeah, it sounds great. Do the record." And those songs didn't even make this record because I had so much material. I started recording songs, and we were blown away by how it was coming out. And we said, let's leave it alone. The vision's going to be 70s. Let's go back. Because Clive Davis a long time ago said to me, "Chip, if it's 20 years old, it's new again." And goddamn that he hit it on the head right there, because everybody, look at all the new bands that are out there, from the Struts, Greta Van Fleet, the Rival Sons.
Mm-hmm.
It's old stuff that they're doing. And they're remodeling it and turning it into their own. And we're doing the same thing. We have a great legacy of music. Those songs are in the set every single night, and the fans are going to be able to hear those songs. But the new stuff, I think, fits right on in. But yet it shows a different side of the band and where we're taking it today. And I'm really excited about what the future holds.
Sure. Why do you think radio programmers, especially in this country, can't share that same vision? I mean, not just Enuff Z'nuff, but with all of the, I'll call you guys legacy bands. You guys, LA Guns, etc. Bullet Boys, whoever, Winger. It's very clear that there is an audience for this stuff. It's very clear that these bands are still touring. Guns N' Roses just did the biggest grossing tour in the history of the world, for God's sakes.
Yep.
So it's clear that there's an audience, but the radio programmers just they just seem to write it off like, oh, well, that's old and we need to push something that has no history and no proven track record. It makes no sense.
Well, it's a natural evolution. I've worked at radio for years, so I know all about it. There's only 24 hours in a day,
right,
and there's the playlist. The playlist is, 20, 30 different bands a day.
Right.
Besides commercials and everything, excluding SiriusXM.
Mm-hmm.
SiriusXM plays everything. They mix it up really nicely. Great potpourri of music out there. But for your normal radio stations around the country, it's very difficult for them to find a room on their playlist to play the older stuff or the newer stuff. It's tough for the new bands as well, Chris.
Sure.
Everybody's fighting for a spot. So I think the new template is now make a record, and then the band gets out there and they take it to the road, bring it to and get on the streets and get out there and reach people that way. And I think that's the new template right now. And if you're a big band like a Guns N' Roses or the last tour, what was it, a Journey or Def Leppard or Poison and Cheap Trick,
mm-hmm,
those bands have sold 30, 40, 50 million records. It's easy for those guys to go out there and do that.
Sure.
There's going to be an audience for them. It's going to be a lot tougher for the newer bands. For bands like us, or you mentioned LA Guns, there's an audience out there. People are going to go out and see those bands, and if you can get on a good tour and reach another audience, that's well and dandy. But there's always tons of places to play out there, and you can't worry about radio,
right?
Like the old days, because that's a shortcut to thinking. You got to find other ways to do it, whether it's getting in a movie or a soundtrack or a TV show or a commercial and branding yourself. That is the way to go. Ask anybody out there that's running this business right now, this shitty business of what they call the music business. I think bands got to take it in their own hands right now, and you got to run. When you get the ball, you got to run and run hard, my friend.
I know.
And be nice to everybody. That goes a long way. Being kind, because kindness costs nothing, but with it you can give so much.
Absolutely, dude. Well, dudes, you mentioned SiriusXM. Let's talk about the tour that you're on. You're gonna be on, I don't think it started yet. The SiriusXM Hair Nation tour with yourself, Jack Russell's Great White, and the Bullet Boys. Talk about how that tour came about.
My agent, Chuck Burnell over at RS Worldwide, called me and says, I got a call from Live Nations, and the promoter asked about Enuff Z'nuff. Okay. Now, there's thousands of bands that could get to do this tour. I thought, what a great opportunity. I'm so grateful there's a fan. Obviously, he must listen to Howard Stern or something, because I don't know how he would, out of all the bands out there, why he'd pick Enuff Z'nuff, but I was pleasantly surprised, and I was confident that we could do this tour, especially with Jack Russell's Great White. Jack is still singing terrific. You go see Bullet Boys, they're still on fire. Mark comes out, he brings it every single night. And between those three bands, we've sold probably 25, 30 million records. Enuff Z'nuff has modest success compared to them, but we've all sold our share of records. We've all done well, and we get along. I think it's going to be a good tour right there. It's bringing back Sunset Strip. That was their whole template.
Sure. And
the good times and partying and celebrating and embracing substance abuse and promiscuity and all those great things that were back in the 80s. And all those bands have hit songs, Save All Your Love and Once Bitten, Twice Shy for Great White, and Smooth Opinion for The Love of Money, Bullet Boys, and Fly Michelle, a new thing for Enuff Z'nuff. There's plenty of good songs that the fans are going to hear, and it's going to be a big party. I think and with the ticket price, it's very well priced for everybody to get in there. It's not your $100 or $200 or $300 a ticket.
Sure.
You come see all three of these bands that have hits on MTV for $20 a night. Maybe some places it might be even cheaper. So Live Nations is smart. They're putting it together the right way, putting these bands together who had great success throughout the 80s and 90s. In 2000, we're all still been touring. Mm-hmm. And you got Eddie Trunk out there, the Encyclopedia of Rock.
Right.
He'll be out there, and I told him he should put a band together and call it Trunk's Trim, and he'd go out there. He can lip sync out there and open the shows, and he's going to be excited about that too. It's going to be a big party, bro, and a really good time. Everybody's celebrating the old Sunset Strip. I think it's a great tour. It's a no-brainer for all of us, and it's for a couple of months. It starts in September, so all of September, all of October, going into November. It's probably 40-something dates. This is going to be it's a wonderful opportunity for all of us. And coincidentally, all those groups have brand new records out.
Sure.
And all those groups have pushed the cocaine away and the drinking. It's really a different day and age right now. And I'm looking forward to seeing what the audiences are going to bring. Already, as we speak right now, Chris, over 5,000 tickets have been sold.
Excellent.
And all the venues are doing good. It's all 1,500-seat venues. It's Wiltern Theaters and Paramount Theaters and Stone Pony in New Jersey and all the House of Blueses. Listen, we're lucky to be on a tour like this. I know other bands who would ask. They asked Steven Adler from Guns N' Roses to come out with Adler's Appetite and do it, and Steven declined. He politely declined because it was just too many dates.
Right.
And L.A. Guns was asked to do it, and Saigon Kicks and King's X. A lot of bands turned it down, and they're going to be kicking themselves in the ass on this one because these were great opportunities to reach a huge audience. It'll be produced and pushed by SiriusXM, all those stations. I'm doing Howard Stern next week.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, this is a nice shot for all of us with all brand new records to go out there and push what we're moving now in the future. And you don't know who's going to be out in the crowd, a movie producer, some guy doing a TV show. Somebody's going to be out there that's going to go, you know what? These guys are kicking ass. I want to use them for my next movie.
Nice.
That's what I'm looking at. Yeah, it's a great opportunity for all of us.
Excellent. Do you feel good being able to tell me that I was wrong?
I never tell you you're wrong, Chris, because and I'm not just saying this. You're a wonderful journalist and writer, and you got a vision. And if you don't like it, doesn't mean it sucks.
Right.
And if you like it, doesn't mean it's great. It's your opinion, and you've been pretty on the ball since I've known you.
Yep.
You know how to pick them.
Well,
and you've been very lucky.
Well, dude, I'm going to say this, and I wanted to say it to you on the show as well as on Twitter, because I really don't like that something that was out on Twitter turned into a bad feeling between me and you. But I always want to be you guys to be successful. And the initial imprint when I saw the tour was like, whoo, that's going to be hard to sell tickets. And I hated that you might have been even annoyed that I said what I thought. But, we do a talk show. You give opinions, but in the end, this is one time where you're telling me that the tickets are selling well and you're getting Stern and, all this different stuff. I couldn't be happier to be wrong on this point. So, congrats, I guess, or maybe not congrats, but I'm glad I was wrong. And I wanted you to hear that from me.
I appreciate that. And listen, I love you and Wendell. We listen to you. I host the Monster Rock with Harlan on radio, on Dash Radio, and I also do it around the country. We have, 50-something terrestrial stations that play us on the weekends. And we listen to you guys all the time. It's funnier than Fox show. It really is. Very entertaining. You and Wendell are really good. And maybe it's my ego that got involved there when I heard that, because I want to be around positive stuff, and we're in a day and age right now where there's a lot of negative stuff that's popping up like weeds.
Right.
And I just want to look at let's all look at the glass half full, not half empty. It's a short time we all have on this earth. Let's embrace what's good, and let's root for the underdogs. I don't care what genre it is and what part of life you're talking about. It's always good to be kind and be nice. And if it's not something you enjoy, maybe not say nothing about it, but obviously with your gig, and like anybody else's gig that's at radio, we all have opinions, and there's going to be a downside to it sometimes.
Sure.
I know you and I go back a long ways, and I didn't want you to start off this choo-choo train not giving us the coal that need to get around the country. But I accept your apology. No needed. The apology is not needed. We're all great, you and I. I can't wait to come to your neck of the woods and play a show. I want you backstage hanging with the band.
Of course.
And you'll see me, bro. I'm one of the most, not to brag, but one of the most accessible guys in the business. I come out there. I'm there for the fans, because without fans, none of us have a gig.
No doubt, dude. Well, dude, the record is a great record. It's called Diamond Boy. When is it out? When is the official release?
Record comes out on August 10th, and I'll be on Howard Stern on August 10th.
Okay.
And I'll also be doing the wrap-up show too with Gary Dell'Abate and John Hines. So we're looking forward to seeing everybody at these shows. Get ready, guys. We're going to be burning the candle at both ends, and I'm coming out every single night, hanging out with everybody.
Excellent, dude. Well, Chip, you know the drill, man. Pick a song from the new record. Tell us a story about it to wrap the interview up.
Okay, let's just pretty simple. Let's just go with Diamond Boy, the first cut, which I said earlier to you. Picture David Bowie and the Beatles in the alley fighting, and Cheap Trick comes in and breaks it up.
All right, well, let's do it right now. This is Diamond Boy. It's Enuff Z'nuff right here on your Classic Metal Show.